Girlies, and welcome back to the pod. Today we have a back to school Q&A episode. So if you haven't noticed, obviously it's back to school season. So we've had a lot of back to school episodes. But in this one, I'm going to be answering your questions that y'all sent in. A lot of them are related to making new friends, backpack essentials, how to have a school life balance, taking notes, and tips for the first day of school. So if you're interested in that, keep listening. Before we get into it, make sure you leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and also make sure you're following me at the Girly Girl Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest if you want to see more from me throughout the week. Okay, let's get into some of these questions. First question is, what is an absolute must for high school? Obviously, you need a backpack. But the thing about a backpack, you need a good backpack, okay? Because you don't want to have to buy a backpack every year. Personally, I like the ones from the North Face or Patagonia. The JanSport ones are fine, but I had one of those in middle school and it kind of ripped and was not doing the best. But get a good backpack. So if you're coming into freshman year from middle school and you're like, oh, I can just use my backpack that I was using for the past 3 years. No, honey. Get a new backpack if you can. Make sure it's good. And then another thing, carry a water bottle with you, okay? Because you don't want to have to leave class to get water. I mean, especially if it's your first day of school and you're new, that can be kind of uncomfortable. I mean, obviously during the year, I feel like people want to get water more and leave the room because you're bored and you're like, why do I even have to be here? But, bring a water bottle, makes your life easier, makes you stay hydrated. If you feel weird with your hands, it gives you something to do. Another thing that's an absolute must for high school is more of a mindset. And that is literally just to be open-minded. Okay, y'all? So be open-minded about making new friends, about meeting new people. That's honestly the main thing, because if you're coming into freshman year from middle school and some of the kids maybe you were friends with in middle school are going, keep an open mind. Don't immediately cling to these people. Try to say hi to everybody, because the worst that's going to happen is that you're not going to be friends with them. But at the end of the day, who cares? Because at least you said hi and now you can just wave to someone in the hallway. So first day of school, try to say hi to people, okay? Even if you don't think you're going to be friends, you never know. Just say hi to everybody, and I'm sure you can find things that would bring y'all together or that you have in common. So that's my other thing, an absolute must for high school. Keep an open mind. Also, try to focus less on what other people think, okay? Because obviously as teenagers, a lot of people can be very insecure. A lot of people are looking for that external validation, are looking for reassurance in what they're doing, which is why it's important to not rely on other people's opinions before making your own decision. So if you want to do something but you think it might be too embarrassing, do it anyway, okay? Because the worst that's going to happen is that someone will think you're embarrassing yourself for a day, but then who cares? They get over it. They don't even care, and it's your life. So do what you want and try to focus less on what other people's opinions are. Okay, that's honestly the main thing. And that's easier said than done, okay? But it helps just to think, if you want to do something, think about the reasons you want to do it. Think about the reasons you may not want to do it. If the only reason you don't want to do something is because you might be embarrassing yourself, force yourself to do it anyway. Try something new. Don't be afraid to try new hobbies, new sports, new clubs in high school. Because when you get to be a junior or senior, you're gonna regret that when you're applying to college and be like, wow, I wish I did more things. Okay, next question. What are the best icebreakers / questions when meeting new people? And how can I be less awkward? Okay. I feel like meeting new people at school is honestly probably the easiest things. Like, it can be really nerve-wracking, I guess, but also you already have so much in common with this person, right? Okay. First thing, you go to the same school. Duh. You could ask someone what classes they're in. You could ask someone, what time is it? Hey, do you know what hour is next? Hey, when does this class end? Oh, what class do you have next? Do you like this class? Ask them if they play any sports. Are you in any clubs? You can ask like icebreakers or questions around the school setting, and once you start talking, obviously branch out from that. But I feel like it's helpful or easier to make friends at school because you already have so much stuff in common. So if you're worried about meeting new people, just start asking them stuff about school. Ask them what they did over the summer, if they have any plans for an upcoming break. Like, easy questions, and then you can start talking, and then I'm sure you'll probably branch out into new things. You could ask someone what their current favorite Netflix show is. Say, hey, I need show recommendations. What have you been watching? That's always a good one because people love to talk about what shows they're watching. And for how to be less awkward, let me tell you a story time. My sister, every time we're in public with people, she'll look at me and be like, God, Carmen, you're being so awkward in front of everybody sitting there. Okay. Which, to be fair, I feel like I'm not being awkward, but then she makes it feel like I'm being awkward because she says that, which is kind of rude and unnecessary. But the point is, okay, that's my sister, so like, she's just being, rude. But most people aren't going to think you're being awkward, especially if you're first meeting people. They don't know you. And if you feel awkward, if you're like, I don't know what to say, just start talking, okay? Just start asking them questions. If you feel uncomfortable in a conversation, ask other people more questions so you don't have to focus the conversation on yourself, okay? Boom. Life tip. And then they'll be like, wow, they're such a good friend. They're asking me all the questions, which is like, yay, good for you. And now you know more about a person and you don't have to be awkward as much. But I don't know. I feel like being awkward is subjective, but literally just talk to people, okay? Even if you're uncomfortable, just say something to someone. Even if it's just, hey, what class do you have next? Like, easy stuff like that. Ask them school-related questions. I swear, it will make your life easier and it'll work. Or if you're struggling in a class, ask them for help. Ask them if they want to study. Ask them if they want to hang out during study hall. If you can leave school, maybe you could go to a coffee shop during study hall. Or ask them if they want to sit next to you in lunch. Whatever. Also for lunch, it depends on what school you go to. Some schools have like assigned seats. Other schools you can just sit wherever. I think that was one of my questions. It was like, how do I know where to sit at lunch? Right? And the thing is, it really depends on your school. Okay. At my school, we could sit wherever, but people mostly sat with kids in their grade. So people just would sit with their friends, or even the most nerve-wracking thing, right, is when you get to the cafeteria and none of your friends are there. So you just have to sit with like random people you're not really friends with. But the thing is, that's good for you because then you can talk to other people. Even though it might be a bit uncomfy, you can get through it. So if you're someone who walks into a cafeteria, maybe you don't have any like really good friends yet, or maybe you just literally don't know anybody, just sit with anybody, okay? Rather than sitting by yourself and being, I don't know, sad, just sit next to people. And if they're like, you can't sit here, then be like, okay, and go to a different table. But just try sitting with people. Try talking to new people. It's not like you have to be best friends with who you sit at lunch. You're literally there for probably 20 minutes max. So sit with whoever. It'll be okay. I promise it's not a big deal, or at least at my school it wasn't. I know at some schools it's a thing. There's a school where I live where the lunch tables are like super cliquey, and there are these big circle tables, which just sounds horrible. So I hope your school isn't like that, because I've heard bad stories about that school. But mine was not. My lunch room was like really long rectangular tables that took up like the whole room. So not the circle tables. The sponsor of this episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 because I hated taking a bunch of pills and vitamins to improve my health, and I wanted a supplement that actually tasted great. So what is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day off right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, immune system, energy, recovery, focus, and aging. Literally everything. AG1 is a lifestyle friendly, meaning whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, you can still try it out. AG1 also improves your sleep quality and recovery, along with mental clarity and alertness. It is also extremely affordable. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/emerging. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/emerging to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And as always, that will be linked in the description of this episode. Next question. How do I make new friends at a new school? Okay. I feel like most people, when going into the school year, are looking for new friends, are looking to meet new people, whether you're coming into a new school, whether you're an incoming freshman, or even if you're just a rising senior, okay? We can all want to meet new people, make new friends. So this is for everybody, whether you've been at a school for 3 years or whether you're an incoming freshman and don't know anybody. Okay. Making new friends at a new school. Like I said, it's important to start with conversations about school, and then you can branch out into other things. I also think it's important to ask people to hang out after school, even if you're not like super close with them. Literally, you can just ask them to sit with you at lunch. Okay, that's one thing. If you just met this person, be like, hey, do you want to go to lunch together? Do you want to walk over to the cafeteria together? And just start talking to them from there. And then after that, once you get more comfortable with them, making an active effort to hang out with them outside of school. If you're someone who wants them to be an outside of school friend, but even it's just fun to have those people that you're literally just friends with when you're in the school building. I don't know about y'all, but I had a lot of friends like that where I would just only speak to them literally in school. But it was fine and it worked out like good enough. So making new friends at a new school, like I talked about with the icebreakers, it can be really nerve-wracking. It can make you nervous. But I feel like the most important thing, like I said before, say hi to everybody. Talk to everybody. See what's going on with everyone, okay? Especially on the first week of school. Just try to talk with multiple people in your classes. Try to talk with people in the hallways. Maybe you have breaks during the day. At my school, we would get a 20-minute break and people would just sit by the lockers and talk. So try talking to people during these breaks. During lunch, branch out. Like I said before, if you're coming into school already knowing some people, make an active effort to obviously, say hi to these people, but also try to make an active effort to branch out and talk to other people, talk to new people, because you never know who you're gonna meet. Next up, what are some backpack essentials for high school? Okay. In case you didn't know, I made what's in my backpack video last summer, which was just really funny to me because I felt like a YouTuber, but it was literally a podcast episode, and everybody liked it so much, and I just thought this was so funny because I did it kind of as a joke, and everyone was like, oh my god, what's in my backpack? So good. But anyway, if you want to listen to that, it is like literally called What's in My Backpack from probably last August or September. But the easiest way you can find it is on my YouTube channel. If you search for the Girly Girl podcast, I have a playlist called Back to School, which has everything school related that you might need. And the What's in My Backpack video is attached to that. So if you want to hear more about that after listening to this episode, definitely check that out. But anyway, okay, some of my backpack essentials. First, water bottle. As always, we need our therapy water bottle, okay? Second, laptop. If your school does not provide laptops for you, you're gonna need a laptop, okay? Or at least at my school you did, because most of the work we did was digital. Most of the essays we did were digital. A lot of the assignments, like that's how you turned everything in for most classes. So having a laptop isn't important. I also think it's important if you're bringing a laptop, a phone to school, bring a charger. If you're someone who doesn't charge your devices overnight, you're literally psychotic, and I don't know how that works. I need to charge my devices overnight, but people would come to school with dead laptops. So just bring a charger, pencil case, okay? Mine is from Walmart, and it looks like a stuffed animal. It is a fluffy rainbow unicorn that I got from Walmart that I was obsessed with this year because I called it my therapy pencil case. Because whenever I did bad in school or I was like, life sucks, what is going on? I hate this class. I would just hold my pencil case because it felt like a stuffed animal, and I would literally pet it. I would pet it. And my math teacher would just laugh at me every day. She was like, Carmen, why are you doing that? I was like, I'm literally depressed because of this class. Like, leave me alone. Anyway, but okay. Get a pencil case. Get a cute pencil case. If you're someone who's worried about what people are going to say about your school supplies, don't even with me, okay? Because I understand that, yeah, kind of, but also get like cute, funny stuff. Like before I bought my unicorn thing, I was like, oh my god, that's like kind of weird. It looks like I'm like 10 years old, okay? And people already think I look younger than I am. Okay, I don't care. It's cute. It's funny. And it's a conversation starter. So it's kind of fun. Also, it never fit in my backpack, so the head of the unicorn would always be sticking out. And I had one of my classes in the middle school, and I got yelled at by a middle school teacher for like, I don't know, doing something. And she called me a middle schooler. And I was like, girl, I am literally a senior in high school, but I think it was because of my unicorn pencil case. Anyway, another thing in your backpack that you need is any period supplies, tampons, pads, whatever you might be using. Keep that in your backpack, okay? Because you never know. And the worst thing is getting your period at school and you're like, I don't have any tampons. But then if that does happen, one, there might be tampons in the bathroom. Two, you could ask a nurse if your school has a nurse. My school like just didn't have a nurse, which was really weird. Or ask a friend, okay? The amount of times people ask me for tampons during the school year, literally insane. So ask a friend, or it doesn't even have to be a friend. Anyone who's nearby, ask them. They'll be happy to help you. Next, calculator. Probably need it. I also like to keep chapstick and some sort of money and like ID in my bag as well, because often I would go out for lunch and I would need money, or I would go out after school, and it's always good just to have this type of stuff in your backpack just in case. And of course, you need your binders, folders, whatever you're going to be taking notes on. But the most important thing, okay, that you will need throughout high school, okay, is a planner, okay? Y'all, a planner. It doesn't have to be like one of those fancy ones from Target. It can literally be a notebook with just lined paper. That's what I did this year, and I literally just write the day of the week. But get a planner, okay? Because if you don't get a planner, you're going to miss assignments, you're not going to know what's due, and you're not going to be able to manage your time effectively. So get a planner so you can be organized and you can write things down, because you don't want to be that person that's like, I didn't even know we had an assignment. When did you ever say we had an assignment? And everyone's like, girl, we all know there was an assignment because we wrote it down in our planners, okay? So write it down in your freaking planner. Get one, okay? It doesn't have to be a fancy thing. It doesn't have to be an expensive thing. Just have some sort of notebook that you can write your school assignments in, and maybe it has like a monthly calendar in it when you can write when your tests are. I personally have a desk calendar that's like the month format, and that was really helpful for me during the school year because I would write when I have tests on that, and then when I actually had stuff like on a calendar, if I had appointments or whatever, I would put that on my Google Calendar. But I would always write my tests and important due dates on my desk calendar, so that way when I'm doing homework, it's right in front of my face and it's easy to see. So y'all, take advantage of these organization things, especially in your backpack. Keep a planner, make an active habit to whenever a teacher signs something, take out your planner and write it down, okay? I swear this will be life-saving and will help you out literally so much. So, get a planner. Do you have any tips for balancing school with extracurricular activities, specifically sports? Okay, a lot of people ask me about managing just life happenings and school, because often it can be really overwhelming, especially if you are a freshman, you've never taken a high school class, or if you're just someone taking more advanced classes, that can be overwhelming. Or if you're just taking a lot of classes in general, or even if you just have bad time management skills, literally life can be overwhelming, okay? So I feel like the main thing with balancing school and anything you have going on after school is take advantage of the small times you have, like your free times, okay? Whether you have a study hall during the middle of the day, maybe a break, or if you can't drive, the time in the car when someone else is driving you, or even maybe the 15 minutes before practice. I know when I played volleyball, we would all get dressed and then have like an hour or 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, before the game, before we had to be out on court. And a lot of girls would just like sit and talk. But also the older girls would literally go into a different room and do their homework and grind out, okay, and get things done. So take advantage of the small groups of time that you have, because overall it'll build up. And then when it's like 9 p.m. and you get home, you'll have less work to do. Also, it's important, like I said, getting a planner to be able to plan stuff out, and also being able to know, okay, I have dance rehearsal on Tuesday, I have soccer practice on Thursday, I have this environmental club on Friday, whatever. Make sure you plan out when you're going to do your homework based on what you have going on during the week, because let's say you have like 6 assignments due Friday, but you have some activity, after school activity on Thursday, and today is Wednesday. That means you're going to need to do most of your homework today on Wednesday, so that on Thursday you're not really going to have time to do any work, so you need to get it all done the day before. So manage your time, be aware of your schedule and like what's going on in your life is important. The main thing is keep yourself organized, and also realize that if you need a break, it's okay to take a break. And if you need an extension for whatever reason, especially if it's a valid reason, ask your teacher. The worst thing they can say is no, and then at least you tried, and you would just continue carrying on doing whatever you were doing and finish the assignment. But if they do give you an extension, that can be really helpful. And you should be very grateful to that teacher, because some teachers are like, I'm not giving anyone extensions, but most of them will. Next up, do you have any tips for digital note taking on an iPad or laptop? Okay, so I'm someone who, I don't like typing my notes because it doesn't help me whatsoever, like when studying. But if you're someone who wants to use a laptop for notes, okay, and typing helps you, by all means, go for it. I'm just saying it wasn't necessarily beneficial to me. Writing my notes is a lot better. But for a laptop, I suggest using like Google Drive or something. Something basic, Word, whatever. And then also it's helpful for me if you were taking notes on a laptop to kind of split screen. So if your teacher has like a slideshow or PowerPoint up, getting that PowerPoint on your computer, usually they would post it, and then having that on your screen as well as like a blank Google Drive document, I think can be really helpful. And also taking advantage of the highlighting tool, because if you think about it, when you write notes, you're highlighting important words. So if you're taking digital notes, you need to be highlighting important words as well, so it makes things easier to find, and will make your entire life easier as well when studying. For taking notes on an iPad, okay, this is something I do enjoy because it's like a pen, it's like having a pencil, and it's like writing on paper because you can actually write. Notability is good, and also on an iPad you can like split screen with stuff too. So if you need to look at an online textbook while you're taking notes, you can do that as well. But I like the app Notability. You could also type on an iPad if you have the keyboard. But again, honestly, I feel like writing your notes is so much easier, especially just for classes like just any math class. I feel like it's a lot easier. Or for me, any like social studies history class, I preferred to write my notes just because it would help me remember it better. But then I can totally understand wanting to type your notes, and if that works for you, if digital notes work better, then definitely try that out and experiment with that. But again, it's important to experiment with your note taking, see what works, see what doesn't, and then go from there, because who knows, maybe typing your notes is the easiest thing ever for you and it helps you study, and then you like to print out your notes and look at them through there. That can be helpful as well. How can I get better grades? Okay, so I feel like I could answer this question in a lot of ways, because I think a common misconception with people and their grades is that you have to be smart to get good grades, like book smart. And that isn't necessarily true, because the main thing with getting good grades is that you have to be willing to work hard. Like, yes, there are those naturally smart people who don't need to study for anything, and good for them. But the majority of people, you gotta work hard. You gotta put in the work. You have to study. You need to review. So, if you're someone who's like, I'm not smart, I can't get good grades, yes, you can. You just need to put in that extra effort that maybe you think other people don't have to, but I promise it's like most people, like you have to put in the effort. It also helps if you're paying attention in class, if you're asking questions, being an active participant in class so that you can understand the material that way. So then when you get home, you're not completely lost. So make sure you're actually going to class. Make sure you're paying attention in class. Take notes, okay? That I think is the most helpful thing. Even if your teacher doesn't say, okay, take notes right now, most of them won't. So you just kind of have to start doing it, but just make it a habit to always take out a notepad and a pencil, or maybe take out your iPad or laptop when class starts, so then you can start taking notes if the teacher says anything important, or if something's going to be on the test, or if you just need to know something in general. Better grades. If you're struggling getting good grades, say there's one class that you just can't seem to get an A in, you can't seem to get a B in, whatever, go to the teacher, okay? Ask them for help. If you go to a small school, this is like especially easy, but if a bigger school, it might be more challenging. But your teacher is there to help you, okay? And if you're confused about something, just ask. I promise it won't be embarrassing. They're not going to be like, oh my God, she's so dumb. But they're going to think, oh, wow, she's making an active effort to do better in my class. That's really impressive. I would love to help her or him, whoever. So ask your teacher for help. Also, like I said, literally the most important thing about high school is being organized, okay? And your life will be so much easier. You'll have a lot less stress. So use a planner. Plan out when you're going to study. Actually make sure you're doing your assignments. That helps get better grades, because for a lot of classes, if you literally just do the homework, you can get like a B or something. So just do the homework. Don't skip out on the homework. It's literally giving you free points. And I promise it'll cushion your grade a bit, so that if you struggle on a test or quiz, your homework grades can help balance everything out. But again, ask a teacher for help if you're genuinely confused. Or if you can, get a tutor. A lot of times your school will offer student tutors from any of the honor societies. For example, at my school, we had math honor society tutors, like Spanish or French honor society tutors, whatever. So I know for me, I tutored kids in math, even just kids in my own grade, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, whoever. So if you're struggling in a class, say math, ask your teacher if there's any way you could get a student tutor, and then that's free to you as well if you're worried about finding something financially, like a tutor if you're really struggling in a class. I also think it's helpful to take advantage of your resources, and this can be free resources, as in YouTube, okay? The amount of times I have been on YouTube for anything in any of my history classes is crazy, okay? Because it's sometimes a lot easier just to learn from, I don't know, like a video helping you, like having someone else explain the same thing but in a different way can be helpful. Like if your teacher explains something and you're just not understanding, like it's not making sense, you're not getting it, then look online, go to YouTube, see what YouTube is saying. I think Crash Course is good. Also Heimler's History is good. But personally for me, if I'm confused about something and I don't want to ask the teacher just yet, I'll check online, watch some YouTube videos, but then after that, if I don't understand, I'm still confused, then that's when I'm going to go to my teacher, ask for help, ask them to meet, or just walk into the room if it's still the middle of the day, maybe it's a study hall and they have a free period, and just ask for help. But yeah, those are my main tips for getting better grades. Do you have any tips for finding your way around school at first, especially during the first week of school? Okay, for me, guys, I was so nervous coming in as a freshman, even though I knew like half the kids in my grade already. But I was so nervous about finding my classes. But the thing you need to do, okay, usually your school would have someone like standing around like the stairwells, and if you need help you can ask them. This would be like a student council person. But also if you see people walking in the hallway, if you see someone who looks older than you, just be like, hey, do you know where so and so's history room is? And they'll be like, yeah, it's up the stairs and to the right. You say, okay, thanks. Or if you see a teacher walking, you could ask them. But literally the biggest thing is don't be afraid to ask where classes are, because you don't want to be that kid who comes in late because you couldn't find the class. So I promise it's less embarrassing to ask a random person in the hallway than it is to show up to a class like 20 minutes late, okay? So for finding your way around school, ask people where a class is. Maybe find people who are already in your class and walk with them if you don't feel comfortable walking by yourself. But then I'd like to reassure you that even if your school feels really big by the end of the year, or even just like after 3 weeks in, your school's going to feel really small and you'll know where everything is. It's just like that first week of trying to find where your classes are that can be kind of nerve-wracking. but I promise it'll be okay. Just ask people. Everyone is willing to help, and no one's going to be like, wow, I can't believe this freshman didn't know where XYZ class was. Like, no one cares. Even as a sophomore and a junior, I didn't know where some of my classes were, and I would ask people. So don't feel weird about it. Just ask someone. People are there to help you. I have a ton of new classes coming up this year. How do I get all the work done without feeling extremely overwhelmed? Okay. I said it before and I'm going to say it again, y'all. Plan out your time. The most important thing you can learn literally ever is time management, okay? Use a planner, know when you're going to do stuff, know when you're going to do it. And also, I think it's important to be proactive, okay? Don't leave things to the last minute. If you're someone who's taking a lot of hard classes, you don't really have the time to procrastinate. So once you get an assignment, like the day you get it, start working on it. Don't leave it till the day it's due, especially for essays, okay? Like, some teachers might give you an essay assignment maybe a month in advance, okay? And you don't want to be the kid that waits to the night before to do it, because then you're just going to be overwhelmed and stressed. So at least give yourself a week before the due date. But I think the most important thing for getting all your work done without being overwhelmed is to spread things out. Like I said, do things like proactively. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait till the very night it's due, especially if it's a large assignment. And then also I think it's important to realize that maybe you took too many classes, okay? And that's fine. But if you need to switch your classes in the first week of school, that's totally okay. If things are going to be too overwhelming for you, switch out of your classes. But if you think you can handle it, then stick with it. I know for me, my freshman year, I went into Spanish 3, which my middle school Spanish teacher told me not to do. He was like, Carmen. He was pretty much like, that's not a good idea. You're not good at Spanish. You shouldn't be going into Spanish 3. You need to go into Spanish 2. And I was like, no, I'm going to go into Spanish 3. And when I got into Spanish 3, I was so lost. Like, genuinely, that might have been the hardest class I took during high school, was Spanish 3. And the teacher was really difficult. Like, I ended up loving her, and she's like a very cool person, but her class was really hard for me, and I struggled. And I really wanted to drop it. But my mom was like, Carmen, you're not dropping it. You need to be in this class. So I took it, and as the year went by, everything was fine, and I ended up managing it. So at the same time, like, yes, drop classes, but also if you think you can handle it, and it might just be pushing yourself like a little bit, then try to handle it, okay? But again, I feel like sometimes it's hard to prevent being overwhelmed. Like, you're in high school, you're gonna get overwhelmed. I know as someone who like gets anxious and nervous about things, I get overwhelmed a lot. So sometimes I feel like it's unavoidable, but the best thing you can do is make good use of your time, of the time that you have, right? To get things done. Take advantage of those 15-minute breaks that you might have. Take advantage of an hour here, an hour there, and work on getting your assignments done instead of waiting to the last minute. So make use of your time. Also, it helps like if you know how to study more effectively, which I can't exactly tell you what that is because for everybody it's different, but if you found a study method that is effective for you, that makes life so much easier, then you can do that, where you can study faster. Even just like paying attention in classes, like I said earlier, can help a lot, especially like it can be hard because you're tired, you're bored, you don't want to do anything. But if you're paying attention in these classes, you're gonna have like less studying to do just because you already know more of the material, which I think is something that can be helpful. So pay attention, y'all. Do you regret anything you did or didn't do in high school? Short answer, yes, obviously. I feel like everybody regrets things. But I feel like my main thing, I kind of mentioned it at the beginning of this episode, But I think my biggest regret was letting people's opinions stop myself from trying new things, because where that really affected me was applying to colleges, okay? Because I would create a list of everything I had done over the past 4 years and realize, wow, I actually didn't do that much. And a lot of it was because I was just worried about what other people would say, what people would think of me. And that was really nerve-wracking for me. So I think my biggest regret was letting other people's opinions get in the way of me joining a new club, of me trying a new sport. Like, even, I'm not the most athletic person, okay? I played volleyball for 2 years against my will, literally. And I hated it, okay? But I didn't try a new sport just because I was afraid I would embarrass myself or I would be bad at it. But I really wish I had just branched out and tried new things, because who cares if I'm bad at it? It's not like it's going to become my whole personality trait, right? But I wish I had tried more new things in high school, had joined more clubs, and had been less afraid to like go out and, join new things, which I just wasn't. But that was probably my biggest regret, especially just like applying to college. It makes things a lot more difficult. So take advantage of the opportunities you get, y'all. I'm serious. Like, don't be afraid of what other people are going to say, or if someone's going to say it's embarrassing. Just do it, okay? I promise it'll be a lot better for you, and then at least you have the option to put it on a college resume and, do what you will with it. Last question of the day, okay? And this is the big one. What is your biggest piece of advice for incoming freshmen? So, like I said with like the What's My Backpack video, I actually have a video about, or at least I think I do, about advice for incoming freshmen, which is in my back to school playlist on YouTube. At least I think that's what it's called. I don't know. It's like first day of school advice, whatever. My biggest piece of advice for incoming freshmen relates to my biggest regret, y'all. And that is, do what you want, okay? Guys, do not let some random, 15-year-old girl tell you what's cool and what's not cool, or what you should or shouldn't be doing, because a lot of the opinions you're going to trust in high school, you're going to look back and realize, wow, why did I even care what this person thought? They're not even nice. Maybe they're not even the smartest person. They're not even cool. Why would I trust someone's opinion when I don't even like them? That was also the biggest thing of advice that I would just have you just circulate in your mind. Okay, why would I listen to someone's advice? Or why would I listen to the advice of a person I don't even like? Why would I take their criticism? Because you don't like this person. Maybe this person isn't nice. Maybe this person doesn't treat other people well. So my main piece of advice is do what you want, okay? Don't let people's opinions affect you. Yes, of course, it can be difficult. Obviously, easier said than done. But if you're worried about something being embarrassing, I will say it. I've said it before and I will say it again. Do it anyway, y'all, okay? I promise it'll be so much more beneficial for you than just being like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. That's embarrassing. That's weird. Okay, who cares if it's weird? It's probably less weird than you actually think. So everything will be okay, but just do it, okay? I swear. Just do it. Do what you want. Try to focus less on other people's opinions. Obviously, you can still feel uncomfortable. There's always that uncomfortable feeling of when you're trying something new and you're worried about what other people are going to think. But you just got to push through that feeling of uncomfortability and just keep going, okay? And eventually, everything will be okay, things will level out, and life will be fine, and you will be okay. And done. Wow, my last piece of advice for back to school. Make sure you leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you enjoyed this episode, and also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest if you want to see more from me throughout the week. I hope that y'all are enjoying these back to school themed episodes. I know I am. Honestly, these are my favorite things to record just because it's so fun, and I'm excited for back to school season because I'm going to college. Woo woo. I think by the time this episode comes out, I might already be there. Let me check the date. Okay, never mind. That's wrong. I will not be there. But by the time this episode goes out, okay, I'm moving into college on the 26th of August. So maybe you're listening to this and maybe I am in college. Who knows? It'll be exciting. But I hope you all have the most amazing week. Know that you are loved and that back to school will be great and you're going to have the best time. Love ya. Bye.